Three planes and a funeral. Mindfulness and grief. My meditation practice is helping me navigate attending a funeral across the country unexpectedly. This post is so named because I took 3 planes yesterday from North Carolina to Arizona. It's times like these that I become so incredibly grateful for my practice. And forgive me because as I was on the planes yesterday, I made notes about this to turn into a post, although I don't have time to write out a whole post. Usually I schedule these things out, but just the last few days, getting all this going and together and flying and traveling and getting ready for the funeral has sort of changed my schedule a little bit. But you may recall back in April, I wrote a post called The 9 Spiritual Things You Learn While Traveling. And in that post, I mentioned that I met my dad again, my real dad, who I had not seen, or whom I had not seen since I was 6 years old. And he's the one who actually passed away yesterday. And I wasn't sure whether to attend the funeral. In the end, I decided to do so because I think he would have been glad, but also out of respect to his side of the family. And I just want to do the right thing. And even though he gave me up for adoption, I always knew it was out of love. And it's that love that unexpectedly brings up pangs of sadness. And so I thought, if I have these pangs of sadness, it's worth it to put some closure on this. And I wanted to share a few things that are helping me and guiding me that might help someone else going through this. So one thing that is really helping me is to keep breathing. Obviously, we breathe in, breathe out every day, but to really engage in mindful breathing, that deep breath that grounds you, that returns you to something that's so ancient and so human that it's really calming. It's the opposite of the stress response, especially as I navigated crowds of people yesterday as we're nearing the Thanksgiving holiday. And I'm navigating this side of the family that I don't know. I don't know these people. And they seem very nice, but I don't know them. And so I'm getting to know them slowly but surely. I'm also remembering to label my emotions. It's okay to feel what you feel. At first I thought, why am I so sad at this? I didn't really know this man. And then sometimes I didn't feel anything. And then sometimes I wondered if I was supposed to feel a certain way or I should feel a certain way. And then my mindfulness, my meditation all kicked in. And I remembered there is no should. There is no supposed to feel. There is just what you feel. And putting a label on those is such a powerful thing to do because you acknowledge those feelings. They just want to be acknowledged. And then you let them go. And you let yourself feel them while you're feeling them, though. And so I have felt these profound moments of sadness regarding this. And I wasn't sure what it was, but why does anyone need to be thinking about it? It's a feeling that's there. And I felt numb. I felt some happiness at knowing that I was able to get to know him, but also being able to travel out here on such short notice. I already go back to North Carolina tomorrow. And then there's the idea of gratitude for having been able to get to know him, for safe travels, all that stuff. And while I was on the plane yesterday, I listened to my playlist. It's the same one that I mentioned in the post that I did called Music That Moves the Soul. I listened to it especially on takeoff. I'm not one for flying. I'm not one for the crowds at airports. I'm not one for crowds. My introvert shows. But the whole idea was that I listened to this music very often anyway, and so it kind of took me back inside. And interestingly enough, as the plane was taking off at one point yesterday, the music crescendoed in this orchestral menagerie of beautiful, profound sounds, and it made for an interesting flying experience, but it also was very calming. And so I figured out that that kind of music, the instrumental, heartfelt music, is really powerful. And something else that has helped me is, of course, to write. And I think everyone has something that really helps them as they navigate life's tough issues and events that come up. And for me, it's writing. I wrote out a whole eulogy yesterday. I don't even know if I'll ever read it. I don't know if I'll share it with anyone at the funeral, but it was for me. It was a way to talk about those early memories that I still had with my real dad and how they've sort of shaped my life. All those decisions and how everything we do matters. And it was really cathartic to write that out. I'm also remembering to walk mindfully. It's so important to release the stress that you feel. And so, as I was walking through the airport corridors and concourses yesterday, I was remembering to walk and breathe, walk and breathe. Try not to think too much, but just focus on breathing and walking and taking one step at a time, knowing that I'm doing this not for myself, but for the greater good, at least when it comes to family and being the kind of person that I want to be, someone that's there for other people. And that mindfulness just continues. I feel it right now. I'm talking about breathing, and so I'm feeling that breathing. And the last thing I did before I left the house yesterday from North Carolina was I smudged. I grabbed my sage and my sweetgrass. The sage is for dispelling negative energy and for cleansing, and the sweetgrass is to bring positive energy and grounding. And so when I start every smudging little ceremony, I always call upon my ancestors and relations. And yesterday, for the first time, I included my real dad in there and called all of my ancestors and relations to protect me as I traveled, to protect me from all the different energies that I would come across, good and bad, and just allow me to remain grounded. And so I wanted to share that with you in this video. It's unscripted, but I've wanted to do more videos anyway. And when I asked everybody those questions about what they wanted to see more on the blog, overwhelmingly you said videos and meditations. And so I am working towards that. I'm working towards a course and teaching more meditation. And so this is part of that. So you'll probably actually see more. But thank you for listening. I wish you a happy Thanksgiving and be well. Acknowledge those feelings and be mindful.